Calculated aggression. This is an often underplayed part of Wreckfest, but it is the difference between success and failure. It is, however, very difficult to explain and even more difficult to put into practice. If you're too passive, you'll be spun and put in the dirt. If you're too aggressive, you'll be focused and left at the back of the track, or possibly even kicked if you're in a server with rules. So let's show off how I figure what I should do to players and how I manage aggression in Wreckfest, and also how close you can get to being kicked. As I'm sure we all know, there is nothing more annoying than being crashed out. So for that reason I actually avoid crashing out players as much as I can, not because I can't, just because I think they'd be more annoyed to see me pull some 500 IQ play and cut past them regardless of the fact that they crashed me out, and yet I won still. The Super Venom helps, don't get me wrong, and also the dirtier servers are always much slower than the cleaner servers, so if you can get some momentum up, often players don't even have the time to react to you. Something like this ultimately comes down to what you want Wreckfest to be for you. Wreckfest is a demolition derby game, so by that logic, lap times and going faster don't matter, but even if you subscribe to that logic, then it's still nice to be able to catch up to those players who have crashed you out, or lose the players who are trying that on you. The races that you'll see shortly were played in Manteln. Now, Manteln is by far the cleanest server in Wreckfest, maybe with the exception of Revline. However, Manteln will gladly kick anyone for the most minor of things, so this is a good server to use as a gauge for how far you can push aggression, because good etiquette is what players expect here. Now let's get started. I should also point out my controller is on its last legs. I have a 58% dead zone on my steering input. Because of that, I've ordered a new one, but that's whatever. Who would have guessed that 900 hours of usage can put a hurt on a controller, right? Going into the first corner, we make contact with the car in front of me. This way, if we get rammed by someone from behind, we're going to be okay because we're making contact with his car, so he knows that we're not trying to do anything aggressive with him. At least, that's what he thinks, hopefully. We're going to clutch in and use him as our brakes, and try to undertake as well. Quite a bit happened just there, so I'm going to go through it. So as we came out of the first corner, we had a green car turned over our front. There isn't much that we could do about him aside from just brake. This made him slide off to my right into the two cars over there, which got them out of my way a bit as well, allowing me to pass on the inside. Going to the next corner, I actually went in a little bit overcommitted, and I ended up pushing, or bumping, Proxy into the other players in front of him. He's in an Nomad still, which is not a particularly quick car, so we'll be able to overtake him fairly quickly, I'm hoping. It's probably worth reiterating this is Manteln. It's a very clean server, and stuff like this is about as aggressive as the mods really want you to be, maybe a bit more than the mods want you to be. Reality is that if you do something like a corner bomb or clearly deliberately spin someone, even if you passive spin someone, so don't brake for them when they're turning over your front or something, then you can probably get kicked or banned for it quite easily, which of course defeats the point in calculated aggression. Coming into the last corner on this lap, we have a moderator on our right hand side, so we can't turn into the corner without risking spinning them out. We could give them a bit of room, but that's not aggressive enough. We want to make our place known, and we don't want them to gain anything if we can avoid it. That's the whole point in fighting on a track. I'm going to turn, as I turn into them, I'm going to brake a bit, and if they complain at me for this, I could blame it on miscalculating the situation or something. They'll also hopefully hit the Matador on my left, who is going quite a bit quicker than I expected. So coming into the first corner of the next lap, we give that Raiden quite a hard bump. The mod's probably now thinking, what the fuck's this guy behind me doing? Let's keep an eye on him, or something to that effect. I'm going to have to be careful about that Raiden, because he's probably not going to be best pleased with what I did, and the mod will, of course, side with him because of what I've just done. I've instigated aggression, as it were. So we're going to take that into account for our actions on the next corner, if he's still a problem. So, this PT player has been a problem a couple of races before. I haven't got it clipped to show you, but I guess you'll have to just take my word for it. We clipped his rear so he turned into Hillers, into the mod, and that way, because he's known for being a problem, the mod knows that maybe he's trying something. In reality, he's not. I'm instigating it, but that's aside from the fact the mod hopefully doesn't know that at this point. Hopefully won't know it at all, because, you know, that's how calculated aggression works. A lot of the stuff that you see me do in this, in these two races that you're going to see, are reflective of what people would probably expect in the server I often play in Black Flag 2 Semi-Clean, where you're close to crashing people out, but you're not. I'm going to maintain my aggression through the next corner. I'm going to gently bump the cars in front of me, and I'm going to try and undertake. This isn't going to work out in my favour, as you'll see. Now, what happened there? Well, quite a few things. We got stuck, so I tried to take a racing line and basically force PT to brake. He turns left as I get cut across him, and then decides to turn right, forcing the player in the other Super Venom on his right to crash into me, which spins me out. Now, there is not much that we can do after this, and I'm left in by far the worst situation. He actually gets complained at by a mod afterwards for essentially crashing out 3 players. He only really crashed out me, and because, well, I was the only person left in a genuinely bad position by this. And I actually hit a few other cars. We're going to catch back up to him and deal with it. Coming up to this next corner, we cut between the two cars, hitting the car with the Russian name. I don't know if he speaks English or not, so there's a chance that he may not know the rules of the server, hence why I was so aggressive with him. So we've encountered the player who we rammed into the first corner, I think the lap before. He's probably going to remember me, so what we're going to do is stay as close as possible to him and hope that he overcommits into the next corner knowing that I'm behind him. I have no idea why there's a destroyed car rolling out into the middle of the track here. I got banned for DNFing like this once in this server, so yeah, I don't know. Well, that was certainly an interesting race. We got 7th place, which is pretty decent. And yeah, no, we did perfectly well. Next race that you're going to see is the one immediately after this. You may even be able to see in the chat if it pops up the mod complaining at him. At the, what's his name? PT. We're going to be a bit more aggressive with him this time. We're going to encounter him again. Well, I kind of screwed that up. We, coming into the second corner, got locked with the Venom, and then PT rammed both of us off the track. Even though it wasn't really my fault, kind of was, I still felt inclined to apologise to him regardless of the fact that it wasn't me crashing him out. Coming out of that corner, we drifted quite wide. Now, it wasn't the fastest line that we could have taken, but it kept that rammer going wide. I don't know if he could have actually made the turn or not, given its turning circle. It doesn't turn very well, that car, but regardless, that's what we did, and it played into our favour. He's no longer a problem for us. For some reason, this guy brakes on this corner. I don't know why. You don't have to brake for it, so I give him a little bump and just let him know that you don't have to brake for that corner. This might actually make him overcommit for the next corner. I don't know that at the time, though. It's hopefully going to play into our favour. He knows we're going to be quite aggressive, so he might be more inclined to let us past. He's also in the second car that you get in the game, so he might be very inexperienced. I don't know. That riding that we bumped, I don't know what the hell he was doing, swerving all over the track. He might have had something go on with his controller, might have had, I don't know, ketchup on his fingers or something. We gave him a little bump, and we gave Berzire another little bump so we can just get past him. I was watching where the super venom in front of the car that I almost crashed out was braking, hoping that the Raiden, being a more agile car, would brake at the same point and later. If he had done that, or later, sorry, if he had have done that, then this crash wouldn't have happened. It was just a shitty situation. On that first corner, I really don't know what happened. Even after watching it back, I'm still not entirely sure. I, at the time, assumed that Sir Peter had instigated it, considering everything that I had to go on with him crashing me out before. So when we catch up, we're going to give him a bump into the corners and just generally be a bit of a pain in the arse for him. Let's see how this plays out then. We're going to give him a little bump into the next corner. He brakes earlier after I bumped him, of course, and continues to brake, which means that he doesn't come off the track like I was hoping. So we're going to continue to fight with him. Maybe I was reading more into it than was actually there at the time, but he overcommitted into the corner 2 turns ago, and then continued to turn into me, coming out of this corner here. Now, him turning into me is fine. He maybe have just wanted some space, so I gave him a bit of room. But him overcommitting into the corner tells me that he's trying to run away, which is not going to happen. He pulled something quite clever there. Coming into that left-hand turn, he was on my left-hand side, and he was coming up pretty quick, which made me think that he was going to try and pass on my left-hand side through the right-hand turn. Now, I wouldn't have been able to do that regardless, but I turned slightly left anyway to counter it in case he did try anything. He, I think, braked slightly and then cut right and undertook me. We're not going to let him keep ahead, though. This is one of my most common and semi-cleanest moves that I do. We see him break here, and watch what we do. So he braked about a car length later than he did, and what this forces him to do is either brake more to stop his line from being put off, or continue to brake just as much, and he'll end up with a couple of wheels on the dirt, which will give me an opportunity to overtake. He handles it really quite well, and so we give him another bump into the next corner, which makes him swerve a little bit, which tells me that he's starting to stress out a little bit about how aggressive I'm being. I'm close to him at this point, and I'm pretty sure that I'll actually out-accelerate him on this straight. What happened there was we started braking just after he started braking. We had a better angle into the corner anyway, coming in much wider than he was, so I knew he was going to have to brake a load anyway. He also overcommits into the last corner, which tells me he was probably slightly annoyed by that, because he's trying to catch up to me, when there's evidently no chance of him doing so. Well, thank you for watching. I hope you've enjoyed it. It's a very hard subject to discuss this, because it's essentially getting as close as possible to breaking the rules without doing so, or predicting what players are thinking and doing, which you can only learn from racing with them more. I'm going to replay that last race so you might be able to get a bit of a better gauge for it, and how I act around other players. Thank you for watching.